Sunday. It's Sunday afternoon. The roast is on. Football's not till this evening, so time for a chat. And here we have the ice cream pour. This is very first pour of Citra's Last Dance, which is purely Citra. Bit of a malt body to it. I think I went with pale malt, caramel, crystal malt, some torrefied wheat, and I think that's pretty much it. So there she is, nice golden colour, nice creamy white head. I kegged it first thing this morning about 9 o'clock and did the 3-minute rocking at 30 psi, and then took it off the gas, put it on into the kegerator and down to serving pressure 12. So this is it. Yeah, that's getting for pretty much almost not a smash beer properly, obviously, because it's got a lot more malt in it, but for the hop profile, yeah, just the one hop citrate. There's a touch of greenness there, very slight. It's light, it's clean, it's refreshing, and it's citrusy. Definite. Yeah, a bit of don't want to say dank because it's not dank. It's too bright for that. But it's just the greenness of the hops, I suppose. But that in another couple of days, maybe 3-4 days, and that'll be absolutely bang on for about a week or so. So the run up to Christmas, it should be nice. Ready to get another beer on then. So what else? Well, you can't hear, I don't think. There's a little potting next to me. That's the Peter's Mild, the Ruby Mild out of the camera book that Peter sent me the recipe for, and it was stuck 1.022. It's been like that for days. I've put a little olive oil in. I ramped the temperature up to 22 from 20. I then added some extra yeast, some the West Yorkshire ale yeast. Left that a day or two. Still nothing. Added a bit more, and I gave up on it basically. I thought this morning, sod it. I'll cold crash it and drink it. It'll be a sweet, like a dessert beer. Like a little aperitif after your meal, a pint of Ruby Mild. So I given up on it, and I brought it in here to crash it. It's not very hot. It's not very cold in here, actually, to be honest. It's not so cold outside. Winter hasn't yet seemed to have hit us, really. And so it wasn't doing anything. It dropped down from 22 to about 19.6 is where it's at now. And I walked in, and it was chugging away. I was like, oh, maybe it was too hot. Maybe it didn't like 22 degrees. Maybe it wants to be at 20-ish. So I've dropped the temp thing down to 19. Oh, me. At the minute it goes through fits and starts. It seems to have stopped now. It was just going blub, 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 blub when I walked in. Could be changing pressure or anything, I know, but I thought, well, I want to give it the chance. I want to give it that time. So I'll just leave it at 19.6 in here. So it's a bit crowded in here at the minute. All fermenters are in here. My buckets, the Grainfather fermenter, the Grainfather's in here. Everything's in here. And I've got loads of bottles of wine down here if the wife's wanted. Because obviously getting near Christmas now, isn't it? Starting to get the tins of chocolates and bottles of wine and everything, the orange juice, so we can have Bucks Fizz and things like that, all starting to come together, except it all seems to come together in here for some reason. I have to collect it in here out the way. So it's getting a bit crowded. So that's pretty much it with the beer, really. This is the Sister Jane's Last Dance. This is the one that I did the experiment with the 10 IBUs, 10 IBUs, 10 IBUs, and 10 IBUs, and then a dry hop. So I'm quite impressed with how this has gone. Comes at 5.5%, and it really, it's a good mouthfeel, good body, clean finish, but it's not got that dry end finish. It's a little, I like it a little drier maybe. I just tweak things a little, baby. A little less crystal for a start. And now I guess it's time to start putting other hops together with it. Now, I think what I want to talk about mainly today was the craft beer channel. I was watching that yesterday. I haven't watched any of his videos for quite a while now. I was very keen when he first started, when Johnny first started it, and I was watching him religiously, and then I kind of faded away from it a bit. Came back again when he went on his trip to America and around New England to try out all the New England kind of beers and such. And then drifted away again. Recently, recently I got back into watching videos. I'd gone off really watching a lot of YouTubers and such. I hadn't watching much at all. Those I were watching, I was watching on the big screen TV where there wasn't the ability to comment. You just watch it and then you can put a like, and that's about it. But I got back into it a bit, and I now use the PC. I have like a gaming PC linked up to the TV, but I also use it as a server really for movies, TV, videos, and comic books, annuals, and all that kind of thing. So I have lots of hard drives connected up to it, and I use it as a server really, mainly for that. But yes, I do watch YouTube via that now, so I can actually comment and write, and I've got one of these little handheld little wireless keyboards, you know, the tiny ones like about that big. Everyone used to get with the Kodi boxes. I've got one of them. I've got a bit more souped up version, and it's really good for just sitting there on the sofa, going through using it as a PC, using the PC. So I do started to watch more. Oh man, my God, plenty carved, I think, plenty carved, and it's gone down fast. That bit of hot matter at the bottom there. Obviously, this is the very first pour. This is the first I've even tried it. I literally put it on, left it, and come back to it this afternoon to sit here and have a chat and a drink. And that did not last very long at all. Wow. Yeah. So, where was I? Yeah, so I hadn't been watching it at all. So I started watching the craft beer channel again yesterday because I noticed he started brewing. I know he did a few years ago when Gypsy Hill did one of the very first New England IPAs in the country. I mean, I think Cloudwater version 3 was considered the very first. And this was the second, the Gypsy Hill one. And he used a grandfather then and did a brew there, and it didn't come out great. And you know, all the issues that everyone's had with NEPAs, from not understanding them, the oxidation issues and such as that, that people have been having and have had. Yeah, it's looking good, isn't it? I'm quite pleased with that. So, I noticed he'd done a couple more videos of late brewing, and one of them was in conjunction with Verdant and Lallemand, because it was when the Verdant yeast had come out, and he decided he'd have a go at an NEPA again. He hadn't done one for ages because of the trouble he'd had. So he did a Zoom call with James at Verdant, which, if you're in the know with these people, then that's the kind of thing you can do. So they had a chat and discussed ways to avoid oxidation. And one of the points I wanted to get to, one of the interesting ones, is when it comes to dry hopping. Now, they don't do at Verdant, they don't do the, what the hell do you call it now? Fucking biotransformation. They don't bother putting in a high ferment. The reason being is that their Whirlpool edition is big enough for that when it goes in to the fermenters, there's enough hot matter there for the biotransformation to occur, so they don't need to waste hops and losing aroma, etc. I suppose it's a cost thing really as well, of that extra, because once you put it in, it does the transformation, but you also scrub out a lot of aroma with the yeast, and so then you have to do the double dry hop thing, so you then do the dry hop afterwards. So he said he doesn't do that, which came as a surprise, but Johnny, doing a homebrew, he felt he should do one, and they were discussing then oxidation issues of when to do the dry hop. So he was going forward with the biotransformation one at high crowds and so getting a lot of CO2 out, it's bubbling away, so it's fine. It's the second one, once you've finished fermentation and you drop down to below 15. Below 15 was what was discussed as, I can't remember what it was for that, because I was trying to absorb so much information on these videos from yesterday that I'm missing bits here and there, other than that, get below 15. So Timmy Jenkins always says drop to 14 dry hop. So yes, he's always been right. So that's what I'd been doing since, and that worked. And that's what I did with this actually. I just only had a small shot of Citra. This whole drink is only using 100 grams of Citra, but it's quite fruity, and I suppose I would say it's aromatic. Yeah, it's not punching in your face, but then this is one of the issues that I'm getting onto. One of the other problems, obviously, once you get down to 15, that is you haven't really got a blanket of CO2 anymore. CO2 has stopped being producing, and obviously the pellets, etc., are hold O2 and will take O2 into your beer as they sink in, etc. So what he was told to do is, I mean, a lot of you will be doing fermenters with buckets and with a tap on the bottom. Now he said to connect your CO2 tap to that CO2 to that tap, so in the bottom, and then you open it up just enough so that you can open up the tap, and it holds the pressure there. There's enough pressure there to hold your beer in place so it's not coming out the tap, and then bubble CO2 through it. Do that for, say, 30 seconds. Quickly add your dry hop and keep it going for another 20 seconds or so to keep bubbling through, and then turn it off. And that should be enough to help reduce the amount of amount of O2 getting into your beer. And then obviously don't bottle the bloody thing, keg it as best you can, doing everything you can with that kind of transfer. I mean, a lot of people now are doing the closed transfer, and that's obviously something I would like to get into as well. But the CO2 thing was good. So I've been on to Malt Miller and bought myself some of the Verdant yeast. I think I got 3 packets of it, so I'll be having a bang at one of those in this grandfather fermenter, because I can do the pushing it up through the tap counter. So yes, so I'm gonna have a go at that and see if I can do that. I don't know how I'll do the transfer, mind. That's going to be a bit difficult. A second video of his I watched was him decided to make a real ale. This was his first video this is his first video then that he did about brewing. And this was during the first lockdown. All the pubs were shut and he was missing real ale. So he wanted to make a real ale, the hand pull and that. So it must be nice to do this again. Once again, rang 5 Point Brewery to get their recipe for their best bitter, which 5 Point Brewery, yep, quite happy to do that. Yeah, give me. Oh, going back to the New England IPA, he then sent a version, a bottled one of this New England IPA done to James at Verdant, and he drank it on the Zoom chat. He did say, oh, you got about some oxidation there. It's maybe about 5 to 10%, but for a homebrew, this is very good, and I would certainly go back and have another one. That's for sure. So that was good. That I mean, you're getting James at Verdant, who's world-class brewer in the style. So, and him saying, yeah, I'd drink another one of them, then I'd be happy with that. So I'm looking at that sort of ideas for that. And then going on to doing the hand pull. Now, how he did it, and I was intrigued by this, and obviously you buy the hand pump thing, and he found someone, I think it was on eBay or just online, who does them for the trade, but you can get reconditioned ones for about 100 quid, fully reconditioned and with the fittings. And the fitting he got for it was for, he went to the bag-in-box. So now I like that idea, bag-in-box. So you fill your bag with your beer when it's fermented. Obviously you rinse the bag out with blah blah blah. Star San. Yeah, Star San, that's the word, not Kemsan. You use Kemsan. Kemsan Star San. So I rinse your bag out first. Then you put your beer in. Obviously you have he did it there because he didn't know where it was going to drop down. So what 5 Point Brewery do is they brew the beer to within 3 points of where they want it, and then they chill it down. And then put it in the keg, and then let the keg warm up. So then, I think it's about 15 degrees, it is there what they consider cellaring temp for it. And that then allows the yeast to work on the extra sugars that are in there, drop the 3 more points, and put the CO2 into the beer. Well, he didn't know where it was going to finish, so he put priming sugar, put it into, put some priming sugar in a bucket and put it into the priming bucket and mixed it, and then put it in his bag. Now he got with it his pump, the attachment for fitting to a tap for these bag-in-box things. They have the push-in taps. You hold the bit and then you just push the button and it comes out. Yeah, so you can get the connectors that go over there and go to your pump. So he did that to his beer engine, and it looked good. I like that. That's a good idea. If and obviously when, there will be a when about it, because I think with these hobbies you tend to go, yeah, I'm not into that, and then a couple of years down the line you go, yeah, I'm getting it now. Everyone else is getting it, I'm getting it, kind of thing. It happens, doesn't it? We all seem to do it, I notice. Some do it sooner, some do it later. It depends where we are. So that's another thing that sometime down the line I intend to have a go at. I would quite keen on that, actually. Be nice. So as I said, I bought the Verdant yeast, going back to that. But on my malt muller order as well, I decided I wanted to try the Philly Sour. Now, the Philly Sour yeast, I was just grazing through Milk the Funk on Facebook, which is for those who do a bit more of the lactobacillus and Brettanomyces and that sort of wild yeasts and things, who are into the saisons and Brettids and sours and things. And there's some very, very knowledgeable people on there. I mean, really, microbiologists and total pros and everything, and every subject. I mean, these guys know what they're doing. I mean, you get the guy from White Labs on there and such. Yeah, so the people on there, if you think you know what you're talking about and you go on there, you really don't. You find very quickly. It's always fun watching someone try and big up what they think they know and get absolutely shredded. Mr. David Heath. Yeah, just get absolutely shredded on there by people who really know what they're talking about. So anyway, I was just grazing through there and I came across the Philly Sour. Someone was asking about the Philly Sour yeast, and I've seen it and not really taken much notice of it. But anyway, I thought I'd read the thread, and everyone was talking about it, and I was like, wow, it's like magic yeast. It is magic yeast, because it's, I can't remember the term they call it, but basically it means it's got a little wild yeast in there, I think, and a normal Saccharomyces. Now, they picked specifically a certain wild yeast that eats simple sugars to a point, and then when it stops it doesn't go into more complex sugars. It struggles with them, so it prefers the simpler sugars. But it gets overwhelmed as well by Saccharomyces. So you don't have that problem of having to have separate utensils and things, or problems with cleaning. I mean, on a homebrew scale, it's not really a problem. A lot of, if you're doing full batch, full yeast into a batch every time, it pretty much overpowers any of the microbials that would be in there from like your Brett's and your lactobacillus kids. So yeah, I was kind of like, so what do? You just, do you have to do the kettle souring thing? Nope. You just put it in. It's quite tolerant to hops as well, so you can dry hop and such. But it's a one-time use only, because, as I say, the microbial, the wild bacteria, sort of wild yeast that's in there, is very, very delicate, I suppose is the word, and just get overpowered. So it's basically a one-time use yeast. So I got 3 of those. So I'm back in the sour business. I did really try to enjoy. I did enjoy when I did them, the Simonites sours I did with Nelson Sauvin, and I think I did Hallertau Blanc. That both of them came out very good, but then it just died. I think the lactobacillus was kind of it was restrained. It'd become restrained really by the dry hop that I used to stop the souring process. Because with the Simonitis, it had lactobacillus in there, but it's very hop. It's not very hop resistant, and you dry hop and it just stops it basically souring, which is what you did. You constantly measured your pH, and when you got to about where you wanted, whereas this is supposedly between 3.2 and I think 3.7, I think is its usual pH it gets down to. Now, I watched last night, I had a bit of discussion with a few people asking about it, and that Matt Evans, cheers Matt, he pointed me in the direction of Stas Brewing and Jack Forsey. I have noticed I have a message on my phone up there from Jack I need to read, so he's maybe giving me some indicators as well about this beer, but I haven't looked at it yet, so I'll have to have a look at that shortly at some point. Yeah, so it looks like what you do is, I'm getting all caught up here, aren't I? So Stas Brewing, if you don't know, is an Antipodean brewer based in Australia, and I've sent him some quite before, so he likes to play with his yeast. So he's done, I think he did a Hefeweizen with it, and he was using, he says add the glucose, go with a bit more glucose than he did, because you get more of the stone fruits, the apricots and the peach and all that from it. So you get the esters as well. It just sounds like magic yeast. So I want to go with that, with some Nelson. I want to do my Nelson Sauvin again, which was basically a smash beer, but it's a sour. So I want to go with that, and it's not a vinegar sour. It's a gentle sour-ish, gentle enough. I mean, 3.2 to 3.5. Although, as I say, Stas thinks his got down to about 3. Although he was going to have to check his pH meter to make sure it's fully calibrated properly with his solutions, etc. But he thinks it was probably got down further than the Lallemand claimed. Yeah, so lots to come now. I'm really excited about these. So I've got a Verdance to come, these sour Philly sours to come. So I'll be getting some sours on again. I do miss having some sours. I did enjoy doing that year, but it did break me a bit, because once it stopped working right and I wasn't getting any souring in, and then I got because I was leaving them quite long and I was starting to get infections in there, and it was just like, you know what I mean? You're just like, I've had it with this brewing lark. Go back to basics. Which does this to you, doesn't it? This brewing lark. You have these big climbs and you hit these peaks and you're like, yes, and then 2 weeks later it's just all gone to shit, and you just think, I never want to brew again, and then you get the something happens and you think, yes, I can do this again, and you get all excited and you do it and it is brilliant, and then you get broken again down the line. So I'm in the upward climb at the minute, although I'm not fucking sure about this fucking Ruby Mild. It seems to have died quieting down again. Is it? Oh, it's at 19.3 at the minute. Maybe it needs to be at that specific temperature, about 19.6. I'll just bang it up a sec. I'll push it up a degree. Well, yeah, I'll push it up to 20-ish. I'll set it there. Yeah, and then, that was the other thing of the Craft Beer channel. He's brewing a new beer for Christmas, and it sounds fantastic, and I'm going to brew one too. I have a Trappist ale yeast in the fermentation fridge. I'll use that. And what he's making is basically, the way he put it is a mince pie double. So it's a double, and he's putting in currants and raisins and rum, and it sounds fantastic. And so I'm going to do one too. His will be ready for Christmas because he started it sort of middle of last month, so he should be able to have it to drink at Christmas. I won't be, but I think I'm going to be doing that. My next brew actually will be this. I think I've got everything I need for the double. I just need to get some currants and raisins, and the plan is 125 grams of each currants and raisins, chopped and in the boil, and also 125 grams of each chopped and added to some rum. And I'm only going to use a bit of rum. See, I've got that. That's Jamaican rum, but it is very, very overpowering in smell and taste. It is very, very aromatic, very spiced. So I'll be using a little bit of that, and I think I'm going to chuck in brandy. Brandy and rum and raisins and currants and a double. It sounds So I don't know if I'm going to go with this whole recipe. I haven't looked at his actual recipe yet. It's on Brewfad if you look. If you're not subbed and you haven't watched Craft Beer Channel, give it a look. It's really, really good. He's been on a few years now. It's more professional. I know I first got into him through watching Jamie Oliver, and he was on, I think he was on a Jamie Oliver thing, YouTube video a long time ago, a couple of years now. Might be 4 or 5 years ago now. And then stepped off from there to be a beer writer, really. And he's very good, and his videos are very good, and you get a lot of information from him, and I really enjoyed it with him. I did, but then he moved into more about the actual bottles and drinking, the tasting and such, than the information I wanted. But then he's come back a bit with doing brewing and things, so it's become more relevant to me. I mean, it was always good back in the day for the hype train, so to speak. You know, what's the new beers like? What's good new beers coming out? What's a good... I mean, another video I watched, aging beers. Which beers are good for aging? Why they're good for aging? Which aren't? Why they aren't? What you get from them and all that. Go watch. You'll enjoy it. Hopefully, I did. I thoroughly did. So that was my afternoon to evening yesterday, watching them. So we're nearly at half an hour, and I barely scratched the surface this week, it seems. Yeah, so a lot of beer talk there, isn't there? That Seven Dead in Idaho, the other hopped beer I've got. Shit, it's definitely not like this. This is. I've cracked this. Oh, that was it. Yes, yeah. Ooh, I've just remembered. Hops. He was talking about hopping. And now they've been to I think it was a Belgian brewers. I can't remember what it was. And he was saying you need the 3 buckets thing. The idea is you go with like 3 hops. You have your main blanket. You so think of it as a canvas. So your main wash that you put on your canvas. And that's your main. And then you put in a mid details, sort of like your main scape. That's your second hop. So say, like as they did with their Nipa. So you go with Citra, that's your blanket, and then you fill in the middle bit with say Mosaic, puts in big splashes here. Think of the American painting guy doing his forests and stuff and putting the trees in and all that. Bob, what's his face? I can't remember his name now. That, and then he went with, was it Brew One? I think it's called, and that's just for fine detailing. So you're filling in the gaps here and there and so you have a full canvas then of flavours that's balanced and works, rather than just taking 3 hops and chucking them in, which is what I do. And had been. And I think I got lucky on a couple of beers that the way I did them, they worked that way. And so, yeah, that's what another bit I got from watching it yesterday. I always get inspired by watching people who tell me stuff I should know, that I want to know, and I think, yeah, I can do something with that myself. That's the joy of this hobby, isn't it? Learning new bits and pieces that you didn't think you knew. Thought you knew it all and you didn't have a clue. Yeah, I certainly never have a clue. Every time I look, I think, I didn't have a fucking clue what I'm doing. Well, I think I do, and I don't. Which is why I say going back to basics at times. Always worth trying. And this has got me... Look at that. I've had 2 in half an hour. This is nearly gone and I'll be on to a third. And this is still slightly green. I mean, it's not bad. There's no astringency or anything like that. It's purely just that green hop taste. It's almost like it's not bitterness really. And that's the point. This isn't really bitter at all. I think I just need to get some flavours in there now, because I mean, citrus nice, don't get me wrong, but like I've just been saying about the 3 tiers and how you want a big broad stroke, then some mid details to take in some spaces, and then the fine detail in just to finish it off really. So yeah, that's the next phase of making my sessionable pale that will be my house beer, so to speak, my house pale. Then yeah, so next up is this double. While you're on, while I've got you here, let's have a look at the double recipe from here. This is I know when I've got some candy. See, the problem is I need to make a dark double really, rather than a light double. Well, does it matter? Because I know it's going to have a lot of dark. I want like a mince pie. I don't really eat mince pies, but I do like that flavouring. I used to do one of these kit and kilo, was it? Yeah, kit and kilo. It was one of these kit and kilos, these Belgian ones. That was a double, and I used to use muscovado sugar instead of normal sugar, and it almost gave sherry notes and airy and raisiny, and that was lovely, apart from the fact that it was a kit and it had that kit twang every time I did it. But also here, this was Belgian Pilsner malt. Well, that's fucked, isn't it? I haven't got Belgian Pilsner malt. I've got plenty of Special B. Cara Munich, yeah. I haven't got any Hallertau Hersbrucker or Tettnang. I've got Light Candy. Yay, and I haven't got a Belgian wheat beer, but I have got a Belgian strong deep red in colour and has lovely spicy flavour. Yeah, that's what I want. Oh, so it's Pilsner malt I need. I've got a couple of kilos. I might have to work hard on that one. Yeah, I might have to stick some Morris Otter in there. I've got a couple of kilos of Pilsner malt left, but I haven't got Belgian. I've got some Vienna. I could maybe slip in some Vienna for it, I suppose. Yeah, slip a bit of Vienna in there. I know it's not Belgian, but fucking, who cares? It is what it is, isn't it? You try your best to fit things to what you've got, rather than actually just going out and buying a fucking load of kit. Right, what's that one? Yeah, I see the Belgian Blonde uses Cara Vienna malt, so yeah, I get away with some Vienna. The Abbey Bay uses Vienna malt, and Belgian Pilsner and biscuit malt. Yeah, so I can use some Vienna. It's going to be a European beer, really, isn't it? Rather than proper Belgian. And obviously I had this Jamaican rum in it and fucking brandy, French brandy in it, so There we go. So we're going to do that. So it's been 35 minutes, and I think we should call it a day, shouldn't we, really? Because that beer's gone. Before, I will have a... This is the 7... Oh, sorry, it was on Star Sun, wasn't it? Just got to tip that out, because that's Star Sun. Out to the grass. And shut the door again. Right. So, while I've got you here, this is the 7 Dead in Idaho, which is... It's not good. I'll only do a bit of it, just to... I mean, it looks the part, yeah. I mean, I took a photo of it yesterday while I was doing the... washing the kegs. Washing kegs out and that. For this Citroën to go in. Citroën. Yeah, Citroën. And it looked fantastic on photo, but then I drank it and it was like... See, I can taste the malt in that more than anything. Yeah, and then yeah, a bit of diacetyl in there, and it's just shit. If this freaking beer hurries up, because now it's doing note. Must have just been the pressure change from moving it from out there to in here, just released CO2, and I thought it was going happy. No, I'll cold crash it, and that'll be that, and then we'll drink it, and that'll be shit as well, because it'll be too sweet. I mean, I tried it, and it was like, I don't know what to do with it, really. Chuck some... we tried a sour mild. Not a sour mild. Sour ruby mild. Oh, it's gone again. Suddenly, I mentioned it's bubbling a bit now. Yeah, I can chuck some of that yeast in there and chew some of that. But it's done all the simple sugars, surely. I'll guess it, because one of the problems with this ruby mild is it was supposed to get down to 1.015, and it's got like 750 grams of crystal malt in it. I mean, and it was mashed at, I think, 68, I think it was. Oh, I can't look at the phone. Oh, but wait there, I can. I've got my tablet here. I'll have a look at the recipe and we'll have a chat about it. Because this is going to be a long one. I'm already up to nearly 40 minutes and I'm drinking beer. Although I'm going to chuck that beer that I've just done because it's shit. Right, where was I? Yeah. Go look onto Messenger. Facebook. Messenger. Oh, yeah, see. Where was it? It's Peter. Peter, there we are. Go up. Alright, so I've got the recipe now. This is the... You might have it yourself, the Sarah Hughes. Oh, come on. It's just blur at the minute. Come on, download the picture. So I was having to hold this at the window to get the picture. Ah, there we go. Right, so... Oh, 67. Mash was 67 for 90 minutes. Did I do a mash for 90 minutes? I might have missed that and done it for 60. So it's supposed to come out at 1.058, and I think I got 1.064. So that would push it up a fair few. That was what, 6 points, and the final gravity was 1.015. Well, add 6 points to there and about where it is now. But the problem is I added some water to try and get it down to 1.058, which is what I did, which I shouldn't have done. Yeah, so I've probably fucked this up completely, really. Bitterness was 30 IBUs I was aiming for, which is about right. Almost that colour 47. So a dark ruby strong ale with the gravity of the miles of yesteryear. A good balance of fruit and hops leads to a pleasant lingering hop and malt finish, is what it will be. Now it's bubbling away again. Now it's at 19.5 degrees. It's just that 1 point, I think. Oh god, that is gassy, that bloody beer. It's nice. So I think that's what it is actually with this ruby mild, that it's meant to have been finishing at high gravity, but I overhit my target gravity, and so it would have finished with a high finishing gravity. But I then watered the fucker down and ruined the whole fucking thing. This is what I was saying about finishing. You're not if you've never done a beer before, you don't know where it's meant to finish. You know what it says it's going to finish at, but you don't actually know because you've not done it. Certainly with your kit and malts you've used yourself and the yeast you've used yourself, because I didn't use the yeast it was supposed to. It was SO4, and then I've just chucked West Yorkshire on top of that. Brewing, it's always fun, isn't it? Right, we're at 40 minutes. I'm going to call it a day and chuck this. I just chuck it now, actually. It's crap. That's the 7-day night. I know it's crap now because I'm having that Citra J and I'm like, this is going like water. I'm having another one and then I'll probably go finish up checking on my roast dinner. I don't know, having a bit of pork belly for a change. I haven't had a pork belly for ages. It seems to go. Supermarkets are the problem there, isn't it? You go to a supermarket, they have what's in season, so to speak, and they decide what's in season rather than you. And I've been wanting pork belly for ages. To start with, I was wanting it so I could do some bacon. I had to go to my local butcher's. Oh, I know I should go to my local butcher's more, which I would. I do get like a meat pack every week from them. It's like a slow cooker pack. I've been getting it the last couple of weeks. But I get 2 roasts in there. I get like a pork shoulder roast, and I was getting a brisket roast. I mean rolled. The brisket, I was just slow cookering it and having that as almost like pulled beef, really. And the pork shoulder, the first week that I got it, I did obviously the pulled pork. And then the second week, I just did cooked it as a rolled shoulder, and it was nice. Nice, yes. So we're having pork belly today. I like a bit of pork belly. It's getting that crackling right. It's bloody hard. Because you start off high, don't you? And you get as much out of that as possible. For like about half an hour is full on. And then you turn it down to like, I'm doing it about I was doing it about 140 to 150, I think. Cooking it at that for, it'll be a good few hours now. I started at about 11. My roasties are already parboiled and ready with my roast carrots. And I'm going to do some cauliflower cheese as well. Eldest is into cauliflower cheese. He just eats anything if you put cheese on it. So for Christmas we got him, he's really into macaroni cheese, and we're out for a walk this afternoon, or this morning actually. So around 11 till half 12, 1 o'clock was when I got back. And found a book in a charity shop. Macaroni cheese recipes, 50 different recipes. It's some London food van company that do famous for doing mac and cheese recipes. I don't know them personally, but I've not heard of them, but look, fantastic idea. So 50 mac and cheese recipes to keep the fucking son happy. I can't see him cooking them myself. I'll see he'll be just like, Dad, do this one, Dad, do this one. Yeah, we'll see. Right, I am going. You will be bored. If you've got this far, fucking hell, you really are bored. You should have been watching Craft Beer Channel a long time ago. So, cheers, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.